Hey, this is Derica, your host on the Happiness Recipe Show 2.0, where top experts are sharing their personal stories of breaking through their own fear and resistance and into living their happy life and how you can do the same. I'm so excited to welcome back. That's right, by high demand, welcoming back Sherry Gideons. Welcome back to the show, hun.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to be back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Had to have you back. You guys, if you don't know Sherry already, have a pen. I say this every time. Have a pen, have your notebook ready. There's going to be tons of magical nuggets here. And I'm going to read her bio just in case if this is your first time meeting her so we can get to know her better. And then we're going to jump into those juicy questions. All right? So, Sherry Gideons is a transformational keynote speaker, international best-selling author, spiritual teacher, life mastery consultant, NeuroCoach health and wellness expert, and the host of High Vibe Nation live TV show and podcast, along with over 30 years of experience and guiding individuals and groups to breathe through. Ooh, I love that. Breathe through their limiting beliefs to living better health, greater happiness, and peak performance. She is available for both individual coaching and live speaking events, virtually or in person, nationally or internationally. Woo! And she's also a powerhouse. Welcome again, Sherry.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, what a pleasure to be here. And high vibe. I mean, isn't that what it's all about? It's all
Yes.
about vibrations and understanding that this is the key that creates the life that we're living. So, high vibe is what we
Yes.
all want.
Yes, we do. And this right here, you guys, I always, say, like, you'll never be the same. I know why you're here. You came here because you are resonating with that high vibe, ready to raise your vibration, increase all this beautiful stuff that I just read in her bio into your life. So be ready, be ready. Sherry, can you let us in? Tell us a little bit about your story and what led you to be doing what it is that you do today.
Yeah, well, go back to the 80s. I'm living in Germany and my husband's gone all the time and I am trying to find things to do. So I end up in the gym in Germany and I'm asked to join the army powerlifting team. And it was, the beginning of bodybuilding, the beginning of, weightlifting for women. And so it was during that time I was overweight though. And I had that inner desire to be accepted by the world, to be beautiful, to be seen as perfect. And what ended up happening, fast forward, I went through all of the realms of this industry and the evolution of steroids for women and other sports enhancement drugs. And by 1997, I was living in the belief that I was not good enough, that no matter what I did, I was never going to prove myself to the world. And I had those deep self worth issues where I began to ask the questions: why am I here? What am I meant to do? What is my purpose? And is this all life has to offer us? Pain and suffering and challenge and setback. I said, if this is what I'm offered, then I no longer want to be part of it. And so I had starved myself down to 78 pounds and couldn't even see it. We hear stories like this all the time of women who've gone through anorexia and bulimia, and they can't see what they truly look like on the outside. And that's what happened to me. And I ended up having a massive heart attack and dying. And I had what we call the very deep trip to the white light. And it was in this experience that I re-saw my entire life, meaning everything that I had chosen or given while I was in the body, I was not judged. I just simply reviewed, but through what I had given. So if it was one of you, whether I judged you or talked behind your back or gave you love and kindness, whatever I gave, I got to feel your feelings. I got to see through your eyes as a result of what I gave. And then I was told I was being shown that which I had not yet finished. And I was shown that we all create our own reality, that the greatest gift each of us has ever been given is that we are individualized pieces of God, that we are tiny particles of white light. We are not separate from God, the universe, our higher power. We are actually one with it. And so in this experience, I was shown the many potential purposes that I came for in this lifetime to potentially fulfill. But I was shown them from the Sherry that had already fulfilled them. And that seems very deep to some of us. But what we have to realize is each of us has come here to remember. We've come here to remember who we truly are. And so when we come back into this world of flesh, we are, we're part of a family, a mother and a father, and they have certain beliefs and ways of being and judgments. And we take those on and we own them and we give them power. And then we enter out into society through the school system and developing friendships and relationships. And we take on those people's beliefs. And a lot of times what's occurring is we don't realize, we're unconscious and unaware of the way that we are creating our own reality. And so even though all of this magnificent, amazing gifts were given to me in the light, I was given the choice to come back in. And it was in this experience that I didn't realize I wasn't told when I was going to be this version of Sherry. What ended up happening was I experienced the opposite first. And if many of you have ever read the Bible, you can relate my story to the story of Job. And while I had been given this amazing vision, what had happened is I still had to let go of all of these beliefs and ways of being and false truths and what we could all call the illusion in our own mind. I had to let go of those things. And so I ended up homeless on the streets. I ended up losing all of my hair and gaining 100 pounds within a 3-month period. But it was during this time that really what I gained was understanding, awareness, and how the moment is actually all we have. It's all that exists. I mean, we go in our memory to the past and we use our imagination to go in the future. But we've all been told that what? Every philosopher who's ever come here has delivered the same message. Mm-hmm. 1, love is all there is. And 2, live in the moment, be in the now. And this is what I learned during these experiences over the last 24 years. I have become that woman that I was shown in the light that had already fulfilled all that. I have become her. I have the chills as I'm saying this. Boy, am I so grateful to be telling you guys this right now. I have become her because I chose to live in the moment, to be in the moment, to grow and to develop these tools, these ways of being in the moment that have now given me this life that I truly want to live, that I deserve to live, and that each of you deserves to live.
Yes. Woo! Goosebumps all over. You guys, I've heard Sherry's story, and every time I do, it's like it's like this awakening, this shifting happens in my being. It's so powerful, and we all can. That story is like the greatest story. It's big, and we hear these stories, and we can all still relate to this story of having some big awakening inside of us, whether we see the light or see the train. Like we come to a point where we realize where it's a shedding of our old selves. It's like a shedding of what we inherited, not of who we are. It's like a coming back home to who we are in this process. And your journey of doing that and the extremes of which had to happen for you to be the woman like sitting here today sharing this wisdom with everyone, which is your dharma, which is this is your duty to share with us. It's like, I don't know, I get like this every time, you guys. It's beautiful. Thank you. Sherry, and take us back, hun. Some of your story is incredible. Homelessness,
Yeah.
anorexia. I mean, the hospital. How many hospital trips, right?
Mhm.
How many life and death situations you have been in. When you were there, because I know this has been an unfolding, right? This has been an incredible journey.
Right.
What were just one or two of those things would you say were your biggest fears and resistance that held you back from knowing who you were? Like who you are, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, one of my biggest fears, I think, and a fear for so many of us is, walking homeless on the streets. I mean, that was a fear in me. I mean, especially because I did it with children. I had a baby at the time who was a year and a half, and my daughter was 8. And, on one level, I'm being shown this amazing stuff and being given this choice and this gift to come back. And then on another level, I'm experiencing ever loving hell, is, how I would say it. And so one of the things that had been told to me in the light is that one, the moment is where our power exists. And two, that I never had to worry, that all the right people would show up at the right moment to help me move forward. Well, what gave me the courage in that moment was what if I could be this woman that I truly desired to be? I had to try. I had to have the courage, even though what was showing in my experience as reality was the contrast, was the opposite. And so when I found that when I surrendered, when I let go of the how, when I started to really just be. And so one of the ways that I talk about that a lot is that, okay, we all have programs. And these are programs that have been running in our internal operating system. It's just like a virus. When a virus hits a computer, what happens? They duplicate. And so what I began to ask myself is, what are my programs? And so, we don't have to fix a program if it works. The only one we want to fix is the one that doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, when you say, what are my programs? One of the things I can tell you that happened for me is that, the things that don't work in our lives, that we desire to have in our life, but what's happening is we're creating effort and a struggle and a lot of work to make it happen. And that's what was happening to me. My old program was, I got to make this happen. I got to push, I got to drive, I've got to hustle, I got to make this happen. But when we do that, what's showing up as experience is revealing where we're the most resistance. It's pushing what we really want away from ourselves. And so when we live in the moment, and this is what was revealed to me, is the reason why it's not working is because somewhere in the program it doesn't support the conclusion that we want. And so this program, it doesn't allow you to have this, like say whatever it is, say it's a great job or a great relationship. So the thing is, as long as you have this program, you're never going to get it. And even if you get it, it's going to disappear. Yeah. Because I haven't let go of control. And what's going to happen is it'll disappear because it's the program that will sabotage it away from us. And so the first thing we need to do is identify where we are having trouble. That's what I started to do to myself. I started to talk. I started to ask questions. I started to get better at the quality of questions I asked. And so I said, whatever that destination is that I was looking for, whether it was a job, whether it was health, whether it was a relationship, whether it was a home, whatever, if that's where myself or any of you is having trouble, recognize it, become aware of it, because the program is counter to that. It's the opposite. The program is the opposite.
Yes. That is so good. And I'm relating this, I know we all are, to our lives, is we want something, so bad, and we come from a perspective that it's not here yet. We want it. So it's a wanting, it's a longing for this thing over here. And as I hear you speak, it's like as long as we keep running that program that it's a longing for, it's a program of a lack of we have this thing, it keeps it over there. It keeps it out of our existence, of our experience. Because we keep wanting, how do we get this? Where are we going to get this from? How, like, oh, I want it so bad. That's just, God, how long did I do that? How long did where a lot of us are still doing that. We're not understanding that it's, like you said, it's resisting it from coming in. We're not living in the moment and appreciating it as it is, which that is allowing.
Yeah, you know why? Because what's happening is 90, so we get clear. Let's say maybe we get clear about what we want. But what's happening is 95% of the day, we're creating a different program. It's not the one we really want. So, one of the things that I say, so let's just say it was a troubled relationship because that was the pattern of my life. That's how I ended up in the near-death experience situation, because I thought I always needed to be in a relationship. I needed a relationship to fulfill me, to make me feel safe, to make me feel taken care of, to make me feel good about myself. So if I have a troubled relationship, then basically my program for a relationship doesn't really work that well, does it? And that's what was being revealed to me. And so in this case for myself, it was true. And so for most of my life, what was happening is I was operating from the program of a relationship that I downloaded from my parents, who had a horrible relationship, and it was so bad. And what I was just manifesting was that same type of relationship unconsciously, until I started to change. And so once I changed, that was a different story, and it was a whole different game for my life. And so, how did I get into that realization, and what was the process that I used? And so, I like to talk about it in this way, because then people really can replicate this, and they can create that self-awareness in themselves. And so it started with the whole premise from my near-death experiences. And so I am the creator of my life. You are the creator of your life. And so if I'm the creator of my life, then how come I'm having a horrible creation? And so the first thing is to stop looking outside. Outside only is showing up as a result of what's going on in here. And that's our first effort. And so Sherry didn't see her behavior. And so when it doesn't work for Sherry, then she has to say, well, somebody else created this. I'm just a victim of this.
Right.
And so basically that's where it all stands. We're all victims of things. And so the moment that we say, victim, as we mentioned, you have no power.
Nope.
And so I go, no, wait a minute here. If I'm the creator of my reality, if I understand that I'm creating this, well, then I have to say, how can I uncreate this? And I say, what am I looking for? I want to be in a great relationship.
Yeah.
I want that to be the program, not the one that I already have, a sucky relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The one I'm working on is I want to have a great relationship.
Yeah.
And then, the part of it, you might have that say, oh no, they fell, and we want to blame, oh, he did that, and he did that, and she did that, instead of looking at me. I did that, instead of looking at ourselves and saying, huh? Until I started to recognize that I was the singular story in my own personal life. And that's when things profoundly changed for me. Boom! Woo! Just like that, I got it. I was looking for relationships. And what happened is I kept failing at them. And I, later on, I ended up with a professional con artist trying to control every area of my life. And what happened is my marriage was falling apart. And I ended up leaving LA and walking away from a comfortable life to living in Arizona with degenerative disc disease. That was my body showing me what was going on in here, in myself.
Yeah. Oh, so this is another deep segment, you guys. We're doing it. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this, like someone say, I just married my father, I just married
Yep.
my mother, you know? And so programs, you guys, programs, I love that lingo too as a hypnotherapist. These are beliefs. Programs
Yeah.
are beliefs in your mind, in your brain that are just firing off. And a lot of these, like what Sherry is saying, we are inheriting these beliefs. We end up speaking. I remember saying, there's no more good men left out there.
Right.
There's no more good men left. And how many times did I hear that growing up or from women around me, you know, because of their experiences. So I brought that into my experience,
Yeah.
you know, and so when you believe that, you really look out and you're like, okay, you just keep getting no good men. No good men keep coming into your experience. And so it's like, I love that and how, okay, if you're sitting there, you're wanting a better relationship, think about where your program is. Do you have a program that thinks you're, you know, there's just dogs out there, they're not trustworthy, you know, they're whatever. Do you have a contradicting belief that's running alongside your desire? Because that's what's keeping it from it, right? Ooh, that's good. So if you want a good man, we
Yeah.
gotta believe and program ourselves that there's tons of good men, which I was able to do, by the way. My man is phenomenal. I just put that out there. Married 12 years. He's amazing. But before I had that, so what Sherry is saying is on point, 100% accurate. We've got to get down to the program.
Yeah. And it applies to every area of your life. It's just, it's not only in a relationship,
No.
it's in health, it's in your job. I mean, look at what happened to me. I ended up in Arizona with degenerative disc disease. I was bedridden and I thought, oh my God, you know, why do I need a relationship? And that voice inside me said, because you're not happy. And so when I began to ask these questions, what I realized is I needed men and relationships to make me happy. And so one night I went to bed and this voice inside of me says, you're too needy. And basically, so that's not a nice relationship. What is that? It's codependency.
Yeah.
And so if I'm with, you know, this person in this relationship and I believe that this person, you know, will make me happy, that's a trade.
Yeah.
You know, when I heard that, I was stunned for a moment and I realized, wait a minute, I attracted this relationship.
Mhm.
And so, you know, when I heard I'm too needy, and now all of a sudden I said, thank you. Thank you so much. It was almost like a slap in the face, right?
Mhm.
You know, because really what it is, it was a lesson in disguise. And it was totally like a wake up. And I walked away from that and I looked at my life. And that's what I said to myself. I said, how can I look for this person to make me happy? I said, you know, oh no, that's not what's being shown to me here. What's being revealed to me is I first have to make me happy. And when I made me happy, that all changed, and it did. And what ended up happening is I had been separated from my husband for a year. And when I walked away from the need to, you know, be in a relationship and worked on me, what happened is I stopped complaining and I started doing joy. And I started to look at, you know, where was love at? And I used to say, okay, where does love live? And I said, remember, the quality of questions we ask ourselves determines the quality of life we live.
Wow.
So I started asking myself, well, what do I love? I love the ocean. And then I heard this voice say to me, do you love yourself? Oh, yes, I do love myself. Do you like your job? And if you don't like your job, then what job do you want? And then I would say, oh, I love my job. I like my job. I love talking, what I'm doing right here, and sharing solutions with people. As I started to define and clarify what I loved and what brought me joy and what brought me freedom, all of a sudden what happened is I started focusing on what I loved. And guess what? I realized I didn't need anybody. That's when I became abundant and successful. And it's 100% because once I didn't need them, once I didn't need these things, it wasn't like I needed something or someone. It was like all of a sudden I let go of the control. I was like, I don't care. The how is none of my business. What I really know is I love me. I love feeling joy. I love tapping into joy. And then what happened is this good experience showed up because I didn't need. That was the word, need. What it does in this relationship sort of thing is it puts pressure on the other person and what they have to provide for us. And when they don't provide what we want, we're like, hey, I don't want to be around you, or I don't like you, or there's something wrong with you, or we go back, like we said before, to victim. And so when we look at this from a totally different perspective, when we realize, wait a minute, I want to hang out with you. You want to hang out with me. I like you. Let's have a great time. And when you start to look at relationships like that, what's happening is the beginning of a new program. It's reprogramming, and a need for a relationship until you're happy with yourself. You don't need a relationship. It's about you. It's about finding out what brings happiness in you. And so for me, once I was happy with myself, I didn't need a relationship. And you should see how many opportunities showed up. But what ended up happening was I wasn't pushing away anymore that, this relationship wasn't going to work with my husband and myself. What ended up happening was that we ended up getting back together because he had the time away for him to identify and work on himself. It was a year and a half. And even when we agreed to start dating again, he went and got an apartment all by himself and literally lived in the apartment for 6 months before, I ever let him come back to the house. And so I just want to point out here that, rather than trying to fill the void by trying to get something, because, deep inside, secretly, we want to fill a void. And that's something that we're lacking. And instead of coming from the position of abundance and saying to yourself, what would I like to have in my life, and strive for it without feeling like you need it in order to become a complete human being. So we need to detach ourselves from the outcome.
Oh, that's so good. And it's such a big one.
I know.
Huge, because I even think that how many times in a day do I still use that word need?
Yeah.
But I remember the first time I crossed over that with my husband and saying, no, we don't need each other. We want
Yeah.
each other. It was a very, I challenge everyone to say that, feel that. If you looked at your job as, I don't need this job, I don't
Right.
need this partner, I don't need this internet, nothing. Like if we go to, I want this partner, I want this life, I want this job, the energy is completely different. It's so much lighter, and it's just tweaking the words, which is powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, it lets go of that. Like you said, when you feel like you're putting so much on that other person, or so much into that job, or so much into whatever.
Mhm.
Now, if they don't perform up to your, control or expectation, which they're not, no one
Right.
will ever, you are destined for doom and gloom. They're going to let you down like that. And it happens every time when we're putting our happiness on something outside of us because of a need. Oh, this is so
Yeah.
good.
Well, and like I said, we've got to let go of the outcome. We are the creators. So the clearer we get about what we want, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's, health, good health, the clearer we get, we have to realize that that's emitting a vibration. It's emitting a feeling that's coming within us that is attached to a thought. Because limiting beliefs, all they are is a thought we keep thinking over and over and over. And we don't realize that when we think about these limiting beliefs over and over, they're emitting a vibe. And it's that vibe that grows power. That's our point of power in the moment. And it's that vibe that's growing, and it's just like energy upon energy upon energy. And what happens is it's like an explosion that occurs out into the universe. And what happens is that we're pulling back what we are. It's revealing to us our state of being. And so, just like going back to the whole relationship idea or the job idea, we are the ones that are pulling it in, because what we put out, we pull back. We're pulling in these experiences in the moment. And that's why, we keep repeating these experiences over and over. And basically what it's showing us is our behavior. It's showing us our own behavior. And what do? We give more power to the program. And instead of realizing in this moment, okay, if I have the strongest power in the moment, that's called awareness. And so it's in that moment of awareness, are you going to attach and try to control, from the same state that keeps getting you these experiences over and over and over? Or are you going to step back? And I call it the observer theory. And so you become the observer of your own behavior. You become the observer of the mirror that is showing up, called experience. And when this experience is in front of you, if it doesn't feel good, then that's the moment that you're the strongest, because it's called awareness. Now, are you going to create a habit of, what serves you by not attaching to that same energy? Or are you going to just start continuing to be from the same program? I'm going to react. I'm going to respond. I'm going to get angry. I'm going to cry. I'm needy. Or are we going to create a different outcome? And I always say that's like the red pill. I have an opportunity in this moment of awareness that something that is showing up that doesn't serve me, not to play the doggone program. Yeah. And when I'm not playing the program, guess what? Woohoo! I'm the creator. And when I'm playing the program, the stuff that I don't want, guess what? I'm the habit. And so, it's about 5% of the average person's life is how much they're the creator, or 95% of the time they're the habit. And, it's interesting because, somebody's at the door, but people think, this is new science. Yeah. I mean, this is all new science, but really what's interesting is that if you go back, to the days of the Bible, or even like the Jesuits and the Catholic order, for 400 years, what did they do? They told their followers, give me a child up to the age of 7 years old, and I will show you a man. And this is exactly what they knew, because they said that the 7 years, the first 7 years was the programming. And so they give the child 7 years, because they knew that 95% of the rest of that life is the program. So whatever I put in the first 7 years shapes the rest of that life. And that's why they said, give me the child and I'll show you a man, because they knew how the program went in. And if you look at what we've been discussing through this whole conversation, I mentioned we take on our parents' beliefs. We take on the people that have been in our lives, and we've owned their beliefs. We've owned their hatreds or their judgments or their blaming. And so, I say, stop blaming life. and start owning, that you are unconsciously programmed in our lives, in most of our lives, to manifest the things that we don't like. And so now, if you understand what the program is for you and you want to change it, you have an opportunity to change it right now, right here, this moment. You don't need to know what the programs are. And you don't need to, basically what you don't need to do is know,
How they were
what
formed.
is going on. Yep. And what you really want to do is you want to realize that you can change it right here and right now, each and every day.
That's beautiful. That just like full circles that, because I know I love this. I love the deepness you put beyond the 0 to 7, because you hear that
Mhm.
in every culture, and even in as a therapist, you hear that too throughout schooling. It's like that's where we don't have discernment. This is where we're a sponge, and we're just creating a reality within that first 0 to 7 years. So there's a lot of science behind what you're
Yep.
saying.
Yes.
Um, but I love how you ended this with, we don't need to know where we inherited, which authority figure we picked it up from,
Yep.
what we seen on television when we were two. We don't need to know that. It's never too late. Right now, what you need to know is how you want to be, how you want to
Yes.
feel, right? Where you want to go. And in that awareness, we can shift it. So, don't get too overwhelmed with, oh, I had a screwed up childhood. Oh my
Right.
goodness. Because I was there with you. It's not that. It's like, right now is what now we get what created all of this, and in our state of being, but now with this awareness we can shift it. Oh,
Yeah. Well, the question is, can I change it? And of course you can. You can change it, and you can change it right now. And it's just as Erica said, stop going back in your memory to the past,
yeah.
because the subconscious mind I mentioned earlier is 95% more powerful than 5% of the conscious mind. And so the object is to realize, you are the creator, and you can change that contrast subconscious habit, and you can create the life you were born to live. But as I've been saying through this conversation, you can only change today, and through the moments of today, because it's in your beingness in the moments of today that are creating the experiences that are showing up. And the gift is that they're revealing to you, they're showing you your own behavior, your own beliefs, your own hatreds, based on what's showing up. And yes, a lot of it is unconscious, but if it's revealing itself to you, it's bringing it up to your awareness, so you can choose to let it go, and you have that much power.
Yes. So it's good. It's sitting and reflecting, just being aware of where you're at right in this moment. What are some of those things that are stealing your happiness, right? What are some of those
Right.
patterns that are continually running in your life? And with that awareness, it's that pivot moment where you're making a decision. I don't want to think all men are crappy. I don't want to think life is hard. I don't want to think I'm not lucky. I don't want to, right? So now we don't, now we know we don't want. So there we can pivot into what we do want. That, and
Yeah.
then it's just a practice, right? Then it's just like what you were saying. You were like, I love myself. I love, you speak this in to the now, which, Sherry, right? This creates our future. What we're
Yeah.
speaking into right now is how we are creating our future.
Mhm.
Oh, that is
And
so.
be willing to ask yourself. I mean, I keep bringing up the quality of questions you ask yourself. Be willing to say to yourself, what the heck are my programs?
Yeah.
What, because those programs will show themselves to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can command your subconscious mind. You can command your subconscious mind, to do something. It's like, a lot of times when a subconscious belief comes up, something that, I want to, like, a behavior I have. And a lot of us want to push those behaviors back down, and we don't realize, no, we don't want to do that. We want those behaviors to come up in front of us and reveal themselves to us, but not to continue to give them power. And a lot of times I'll say to myself, I command you to see the beauty in you, the love in you, the worthiness of you, the beauty, the beautiful smile of you, the kindness of you. We can command that subconscious mind. It's just we don't realize we're the creators, we're the masters of our ship, and our bodies are the servant. And our cells are just creating this body based on what the master is telling it. So if the master's telling it it's not good enough, or it's not worthy, or it doesn't have enough, or it needs, or its life is shitty, then the body takes on and owns and reflects and bees from that state of mind that we have taken ownership of as the master. So in replace, what happens is the body becomes the master and we become the servant. And so the question is that, are you ready? Are you willing? Because it takes being willing to grow as a person, being willing to be the real you, the real you that is the gift of you. And so it's just like going to the gym. You've set an intention today to start being the real you, to owning that power. And so when you hit the gym, you're weak. And sometimes in the beginning, you can only lift a 3-pound weight and a 5-pound weight. And what happens? You have to keep making the commitment to going back again and again and again to get stronger and to build that muscle. The same thing applies with you being the real human being that you deserve to be, is that this program you've given power to. And now it's time to rewire your brain to realize you're the gift. You've been given the most amazing gift, and that is to be the individualized expression of the great I am. That means you have the same powers, the co-creative powers along with it. And so many people today call it God and the universe and our higher power. They even call it the quantum field. So I say, how about you finally tap into that quantum accelerator inside yourself and live the life you were born to live, because all of us are. Stop judging others, because what you judge judges you. Stop judging yourself and start living this life right here, right now, today. And I'm here to help you.
Oh, yes. Please do follow her too. We're going to talk about exactly how you can connect with her. Her message is powerful, you guys. I know you're look at my notes. I'm going bananas with my notes, and I hope you are too, because there's just so much. Replay this, because there's my brain's going off on so many different areas. I want to touch on that because it's so juicy. It's so good with everything you just said. But before we go into the next topic, it's like, are you ready? You have to sit right here with yourself, you guys. Are you ready? This is so uncomfortable. The enlightenment is not easy. Whatever they call it, awakening, enlightenment, it's not a walk in the park. It's like you're facing those, we call them like demons or Goliaths or the programs. That's what they're called.
Illusions.
Yeah, they're all illusions, and they're not yours. They're not yours. They're not you. And so it's huge to wake up to that and realize you're the creator. She is speaking into, you are the creator. You are the captain of your ship, the ruler of your reality. No one else can be. And that's a massive role to play. It gets fun. It does. It gets delicious and fun, but it's messy. You guys, it's messy. I love everything you said here with this. It was a recipe in itself of just reflecting, figuring out what is stealing your happiness. What are these programs that are running in your life that you just don't, I like it. You have good programs and you have viruses. You have the bad programs. And so just figuring out which ones those are and tackling them one at a time.
That's right.
Okay? You know, I don't recommend by yourself. I recommend you definitely get a coach by your side. You reach out to someone that is going to see the blind spots and guide you and hold you up through the messy storm. Sherry is a phenomenal person for that. Definitely reach out. Her social media platforms are insanely powerful, inspirational. Definitely follow her on that. Oh my gosh, I want to go so many places in
I
this.
know.
Um, can you give us one of your happy hacks where, because I love how you said yes, we are God in human form, meaning we are
Mhm.
part human. We have a physical vehicle that we're living out life in. So this has experience. Sometimes we're all going to get out of alignment. We're not 100% joyful, or we wouldn't even know what happiness was if we were 100%. So Sherry, what do you do whenever you get out of sorts, you feel down? What's one happy hack that you do that pulls you into your alignment, that brings you back into your joy?
I call it my 60-second happiness blast. I have this long mirror, and I go and stand in front of the long mirror, and I just literally start talking to myself. I say, "You are amazing," with this big huge smile, because we don't realize that when we smile, what it does is it literally fires your neurotransmitters in your brain, and your brain, creates these synapses, and it basically says, I am happy. It's telling
Yeah.
your brain that. So I say, I am happy. I am beautiful. And then I scan my whole body. I love my arms. I love my stomach. I love my legs. I tell my cells, you know what? This is a happy dance, cells. You know what? Thank you so much for constantly recreating vibrant health, for supporting me, and for just, helping me to live this life that is of an amazing expression of fun and play and laughter and joy and freedom of movement. And whatever the words are for you, let that create that day of fun for you, a play. Even, in the last happiness recipe, I said, we all have this little funny side of us, this quirky side of us. And for me, that little quirky side of Sherry is a sugar boomy boom boom, and I do, as you can tell, I do it with all this like over enunciation and animation, but that's me. And whenever I go there in myself, it like instantaneously aligns me with who I really am. And what better place to finally be for myself is to live to be the real me and not care about what people think. To realize if we're attracting into our now moments what we are, then what I want to do is be always this side of myself that is silly and playful and over the top, because that's what I want to attract in my life. Other like-minded people who are being that in themselves. And then what a party, huh?
I love it. You guys, this is truth, 100% truths that are ringing through right now. It's our thoughts can make us sick. And this is just proven all over the world. We can think ourselves in a heart attack right now. We can think ourselves into any disease and illness. It all starts from the thought process. And so the exact opposite is what Sherry is saying right here as a happiness hack, is to think, well, if I can like think a thought and go straight into depression, I can think a thought and go straight into exhilaration, enthusiasm. It works the same, exactly the same. So, choosing what words light you up, what lights you up, what words about you could say to yourself that you would want to hear from someone else. Tell you. And oh God, that's so delicious.
Yeah.
And you're just being,
Yeah.
it'll work. It works
Yep.
every single
Well,
time.
you know what? I love what you're saying. Isn't it funny how we can always feed off of each other, and how when you're just aligned with each other, and it's like you're speaking each other's language. And that's what this is about. It's like I mentioned the story of going to the gym. It's about repetition. And that's the way the subconscious mind learns. It's about repeating something over and over again. And that's called habituation. It's called making a habit that serves you. And so when we keep repeating this over and over and over again, just like the happiness hack. When you keep creating that repetition daily, what happens is it becomes a new program. It becomes a program that is positive, and you begin to attract more of that. And it's the same thing with everything that you desire. When you keep repeating that repetition all day long throughout the day, what happens? I am happy. I am happy. I am happy. Happiness begins to reveal itself.
Yes, because a program, you guys, is just a belief, and a belief is just a thought we've thought over and over and over again.
Yep.
So thinking this practice, this is practice thinking over and over and over again, I am well, I am abundant, I am loved, I am whatever feels really good to you. It is just being in that gym, being in that mental gym with it, not giving up, and doing just by sitting here an hour of these high vibes. Like, I'm high as all get out right now. I'm just through the roof.
I love to be in this state.
So I know there's no way that you're not feeling some shift in your being right now, as sitting in an hour of thinking these very high vibe thoughts. You'll never be the same. You'll never be the same. And it's this thing that we get to do. It's a choice we get to do every single day of our lives. Oh, Sherry, can you lead it? This is perfectly going right into what you are, the amazing gift that you're giving our audience.
Yes. So the gift that I'm going to share with all of you is called How to Unlock Your Brain's True Power. And so, we've all come to a place in history right now. We've said it in this, this summit today, and that is, it is the Great Awakening right now. And so we're realizing that as human beings, we're curious about ourselves, and we're curious truly about how life is happening around us. And so what is really going on right here is that we have the power to navigate our world with greater knowledge and greater ease, with ease and grace. And so when we're in an environment of seeking result and unfoldment for ourselves and about ourselves, what happens is we pull that in. We seek to better understand this intelligent universe. And guess what? We get to create a harmonious relationship with it. And so it happens in here. And so that's the little gift, how to unlock your brain's true power and live in your own threshold of self-choice.
Oh, so good. So powerful. You guys, click it. If you haven't already, click the link below. Get that free gift. I'm on it. You guys get it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. First, thank you. Thank you, audience, for being with us another whole hour on this life transformational episode. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We will always love to hear your comments. What shifted, what happened inside of you? And I'll always get those over there to Sherry. So please do comment. Thank you. And Sherry, oh my goodness. Thank you so much. All your time and wisdom and nuggets. I mean, I can't get enough of you. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Back at you, beauty.
All right. You guys have a beautiful day, and we'll see you on the next show. Bye-bye.
Bye.